You guys will love this episode. If you want to find out what about land flipping is a unique filter that does not apply to single family flips. I'll give you a hint, it has to do with their age and how to find that. This is from somebody who's flipped 22 land deals last month and has been flipping land since 2004 and has such great energy for the business even still. He used to advertise in newspapers, so we can learn about how he's adapted through technologies over the years to continue to have one of the largest land flipping businesses around. Well, Robert, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Give us a context of what your business is doing today, the size, the people, the types of transactions, and all that.
So we're a small business. I have one partner. His name is Rudy. He's actually outside of Atlanta, just north of Atlanta in Alpharetta, Georgia. And me and him both have been in land business since about 2004. So we kind of did our own thing. We came together, did a lot of business back in 2011 and 12 for a while, and then we actually joined forces in 2020, made it official with Land Supplier. That's our business. Our acquisitions business is Sell My Dirt. That's what we're signed up with you guys for. That's what we use the platform for. So
you have two brands, one's to bring it in, one's to dispossess. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So do you ever buy the land yourself, or do you wholesale it and take an assignment fee?
We usually buy the land ourselves. We do some wholesaling, smaller deals, stuff like that. We don't want to come out of pocket for closing costs and stuff. So we'll just flip them and wholesale them and take an assignment fee. But a lot of deals, we either double close or we just buy them, hold them for a while, and sell them down the road.
Hey, well, congratulations on being in business since 2004 as well.
Yeah.
I think, big statistic, 90% of businesses fail in the first 10 years, right?
Absolutely.
So it's very impressive that you guys have had such a long run.
Yeah, and it's been a big roller coaster. The markets, they go up, they go down, they go sideways. And technology's changed a lot too. In 04, we were selling land from newspapers, So, and now it's a whole different game. So,
whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You were selling it in the newspaper.
Yeah, that's where we listed all our properties. Google. So I built a website in 2004, and we started with Google Ads, but most of our properties were USA Today, Chicago Herald, Washington Post, Tampa Bay Times here. Miami Herald was a good one. So yeah, we spent a lot, and those were expensive ads.
Were you always selling land in Atlanta area?
No, Florida.
Oh, always Florida area. Yep. Your partner just lives in Atlanta.
He lives in Atlanta,
gotcha.
Correct, yeah.
So so Florida, if you're listing it in Tampa, is the land in Tampa, or are you selling out-of-state land to people in Tampa?
So back when we first started, all Florida property. We started in Hendry County. I remember my first deal, we drove to Miami. There was no email signing or nothing like that. People, they wanted to meet you, shake your hand. I drove to Miami, signed a contract with this guy, came back, put it in the Miami Herald, sold it in 3 days. It was a Montour Ranches 5-acre land in Hendry County. We sold it for 10 grand in 3 days, made 10 grand. Bought it for 30, sold it for 40, literally in 3 days from that newspaper.
In 2004?
2004.
Beautiful.
That was my first deal.
How'd you find that deal, by the way?
I found it from looking in Hendry County Property Assessor website. We used to write down all the names and the addresses. We reverse search them for the phone number and call the owners. It's a lengthy process. You didn't call a lot of leads.
So assessor, was he behind on taxes?
No.
Or all the land?
Well, we would just take certain parts of it. We'd break it up like, okay, we're going to take these, these 100 parcels today. Tomorrow we'll work on these.
Yeah, but how did you filter those out? Was it just random land?
Just random. It was random.
Just literally call everybly.
Literally.
Love it.
It was random,
Yeah.
So back then I did screening in aluminum. It was a family business. In Naples. I started in Naples, Florida, and had a good friend of mine. He since has passed, but that was kind of like always my partner. And I had a roommate at the time that was like always excited. And on the weekends, we'd sit down drinking beer. He'd tell me he's been buying this land and selling this land, and he'd kind of fill me in on it. And he showed me a little bit, and a couple months later, he moved on with life. And so I just sat down one day and on the weekend, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to try this. He told me enough information where I think I got the grasp of it. And of course, since then, we've just totally formulated it into a good, well-running machine.
What did that guy who owned the ranch that was 5 acres, why did he want to sell it? Did he say?
It was a Spanish gentleman. He had the land in the family for a long time, many, many years. Wasn't never going to move there. He lived in Miami and Hialeah, and he just needed the cash and was never going to relocate there.
So have you noticed that, you said he had it in his family for a long time. I assumed he was an older gentleman.
Yes.
Have you noticed that the people who sell land are typically like older?
Yes,
That's a trend?
it's a trend. Yeah.
Because I had Colin Murphy, he's a guy who lives in Spain actually, and he flips land, and he said, oh, I love that filter in DealMachine where you can do the owner age, because nobody under 65 sells their land. So I was just curious to correlate if that was actually true.
Well,
and I believed it makes a lot of sense, because typically if you have vacant land, you got some plans for it, or you just want to let it appreciate, so you hang on to it.
correct. Yeah. So in a sense, that is true. I mean, and you get better deals from the older generation. Obviously, they've had it for a long time. They've been paying taxes. They're tired of it. A lot of those people that bought back in the 60s, 70s, they bought into some kind of land investment. Not to say it was a scam, but a big dream. Hey, we're going to develop this land. You've got to buy now. These guys are coming out of the army or whatever. They buy it for their wife. You know, this is back in the 60s and 70s. They still have it. Nothing ever happened with that subdivision, and they just want to let it go. So that's a good point. But in all reality, it don't matter what age you are. If you need money, you need money. If you're in a situation or divorce, death, things happen in life.
So are these typically infill lots in subdivisions, or are they more, rural ranch type properties, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter. We started with mostly infill lots, your basic Lehigh acres, Cape Coral area, stuff like that.
Yep.
Nowadays, we sell more acreages than anything. We do a lot of our deals in California, Arizona, Texas, Colorado. Last month we did, I don't know, a little over maybe 22 deals. Only 2 of them were Florida.
Congratulations. 22 in a month?
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, you definitely need to be in Collective Genius if you're looking for a group that does that kind of volume. That's serious. Not a lot of people do that.
Yeah. That's low volume for us.
22 is low volume for you.
Last year, or 21, 22, we were averaging 70 to 100 deals a month. Yeah.
Well, what happened? That's actually quite a bit.
The market went down. I mean, it's recessed a lot. It's turned
price?
back. It's turned back to a buyer's
and
market.
Price?
Price has come down a little bit. Yeah, we've noticed that big time. You can still
but
make
if
money.
the price was high last year,
right,
wouldn't you think it'd be tough to get good deals?
That's very tough.
How did you do that though? Because no matter what, you're always dealing with one side or the other, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So how did you find good deals in a market where the price was high?
It was tougher because everybody's getting called, everybody's getting mailers. But as that happens, even now, 2 years later, it's still hard. These sellers still think they got gold because they got 50 letters a year ago. Not noticing the market's coming. Putnam County, I just checked yesterday. They actually updated their assessed values. They've put them back down about 40%.
Not often does that happen. Wow.
It takes about 3 to 4 years usually. They were quick, yeah. Usually 4 or 5 years. So they were very fast. They've already reduced a lot of their assessed values back down to correlate with actual market conditions, which is good. It helps us, and the sellers too. They got that tax notice from last year showing it's worth $20,000. It's only worth 10. It's hard to get around that obstacle when you're talking to somebody on the phone. So, but yeah.
What are some ways that you might go about trying
to get around those obstacles? A lot of times I try to just explain that to them, that the market's down, things like this. You're not still getting 5 letters a week, are you? They've slowed down a little bit.
That's a good question.
Different trends, things like that you can try to explain to them. But a lot of time, I don't waste energy on it. Acquisitions to me is really a contact sport. It's and that's why we love DealMachine, because you get so many leads that are so valuable for so inexpensive, right? I mean, the price is untouchable.
And you're still calling?
Still calling, still texting, still emailing. We do all 3. We don't send mailers. We have done some mail campaigns, but we have a good system set up in our acquisition system is a built-in CRM. We drop your leads in, it automatically starts sending text messages, voicemail drops. It will send emails. It will send the leads to the dialer where people can jump on the dialer. They start going through the leads as well. So it just kind of does everything right off the bat with your file.
What type of exporting are you doing? Like how many properties are you exporting from DealMachine per month, should I say, in order to do 22 deals?
Well, last month we were on the 100,000 plan, so we did 100,000. I put in I recycle 40 or 50,000 a month too from previous months. So we probably went through 150, 170,000 leads last month.
Oh, cool. So are you going to different parts of Florida every month, kind of switching to a new 100,000 property owners?
A different state.
And that's landowner, just vacant land, right?
Just vacant land.
Yeah. So gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to say was you said in 2004 you actually made $10,000 on that first land flip, And I know in 1998, basically a dollar in 1998 is now worth 50 cents now. So just through inflation, I would imagine you're probably making at least 20,000 now on a piece of land, right?
No.
No?
No, I wish.
What's the number at, like?
Average?
Yeah.
I'd say the average now is about 6 to 7 for us.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad, but also you got to understand 2004, there was very little competition.
Got it.
I didn't know many people that flipped land. Did you in 2004?
No,
Maybe you did,
I didn't.
but
No, I didn't.
Now everybody does, right? Everybody's a wholesaler. Everybody's flipping land, flipping houses. It just wasn't known back then as much. It was a very small community of people that invested. I built up a small network of investors back then, but it wasn't as huge. I mean, you have social media now. You have the power of the internet. You have YouTube. You know, all these gurus, they're saying, making these real estate education videos. So you just got more people involved now, I think. So the spread on them has come down for us, at least. I know there's some guys still that are making really good spreads, and they're out there, don't get me wrong. But our spreads definitely have come down over the years.
How have you continued to find buyers for the land, even though it's, you said it was a seller's market, so the buyers really wanted to last year, right? So how do you find buyers? You have a website, you have a brand.
Yeah, we have a website. We have our social media that we target. We also do a lot of email retargeting and SMS retargeting for repeat buyers and investors, people that are in our database.
So you basically find people who bought vacant land. You could use DealMachine for that, I suppose. Is that what you're talking about?
No, these are just our clients that have
your own clients.
They've already subscribed somewhere. Social media is obviously really powerful. My partner's brand, which is Land Century, he owns that. He's got over 1 million followers on his social medias too. So we use his website to target as well and leads and stuff. So, but it's tough. It's tough. The buyers are, they're out there, but they want the best deal possible now. They know the market's flipped.
What are typically your buyers doing with the land? Are they just holding on to it as well for several years?
We sell to a lot of investors, yes. We do sell to a lot of people that are wanting to homestead now. A lot of people, that's why acreages, mobile homes, manufactured homes, stuff like this are real popular. We get a lot of demands for RV property. That's super hard to find now. A lot of counties have did away with that. But that's
mean like creating an RV park?
No, just being able to live on it with your RV or your fifth wheel. A lot of people want to do that. A lot of people want to be off grid nowadays. They don't want to be in the city paying the taxes and the traffic and all that. And especially older people that are starting to retire, that 50 to 60-year-old.
So you may very well have a buyer that just buys one time from you guys.
Yes. Yeah.
And they come and find you through social media.
Yes,
awesome.
Sir. Yes,
I'll check out the social media account that your partner has 1 million followers.
Yeah.
And he's the one attracting people like that, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Ours are, maybe a couple 100,000, but yeah, he's got between all his social media accounts, they're over 1 million reach easily. Yeah. Land Century is his brand, and super powerful. Very good site.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
What's it like? Why has your partnership lasted so long? Whereas a lot of partnerships people diverge. They end up having to go separate ways. What do you think's made yours like so long-standing?
Well, when we first linked up, back in 2012, he called me about a property. One of my sales guys answered the phone, talked to him for a little bit about it, and said, "Hey, I'll meet you in Colorado next week. I'll show it to you." And he's like, "Okay." So we flew out, met him in Colorado, walked the property. I forget what it was. It was 50 or 100 acres out in Colorado I was selling. And we ended up working a deal, ended up buying it. And by the end of that trip, he's like, "Hey, why don't we partner on some of these deals? You've got the acquisition system." Because I also ran call centers for many years. I had several call centers in the Tampa Bay area, so I had a lot of people always on the phone. So I had a way to reach people. As far
Making
as
cold calls?
For acquisitions, straight cold calls. I had already had a team in place for it. He's like, "Listen, I have a lot of investors. I have a lot of buyers in the Florida area, overseas." So it worked out. We started doing that for many years, and market kind of fills it out a little bit for us for a few years. We took a little break, and then in 2020 we linked back up. The biggest thing though is when we joined our partnership was we dedicated and we wrote down and we explained exactly what role each of ours is. We're in different cities. We don't have an office we meet in every day, but we know like, hey, I'm going to handle this, marketing that, this and that. you're going to handle the acquisitions, this, and this. We'll hire a VA to handle this and a team to do this. But I think because everything was really specifically drawn out from the beginning, I think that's why it worked for so long. We all know our roles.
Yes,
we all know our responsibilities. Being very clear, That way I'm not covering your duties, you're not covering mine. Not that I wouldn't, and I will, if I have to, or you're out of town. But it just was very specific partnership, and I think that's why it lasted so long.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know one thing that we've never used, because I've been a partner with DealMachine 8 years now.
Okay.
I would consider that a pretty long partnership.
That's a long
compared
partnership.
to how many customers I've seen contact me and say, we need to split up our DealMachine account because this isn't working out. We're selling part of the business to the other person, et cetera. We had a financial advisor who's really smart. He said, in your operating agreement, you put this push-pull agreement in place. So that way, if you just can't work something out, one of you guys can execute this agreement by naming a price. And then the other person gets to pick who buys it from who for that price. And that's really smart, I thought, because it prevents you guys from, it would prevent us or anyone from trying to lowball the other person. And that could just be a whole long, drawn-out argument.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I thought it was so smart.
awesome.
I'd never heard that before. So I always share that with anybody. Not that you need it, because you've been a partner for a long time. But
that's great, though.
Yeah, I thought he was really smart.
That is. So you guys have all been partners. How many partners are there?
Just two, me and Dave. It's also, Matt, right?
Yeah.
So Matt and Dave and I went to high school together.
Okay.
And that's how we know each other. Worked on projects, all throughout school like that, and continued to be friends since then. And then started the business in 2016, actually.
Nice.
And so I was getting into real estate myself, just looking for a rundown house, and was trying to send a letter to the owner, but I kept failing to write the letter because it's kind of tedious at home doing that, not fun.
Right.
But so I made this app that would send out the letter to the owner when you were in front of it, and put it on the App Store, and people started to use it. I knew Dave was a more talented developer than me, so I called him up, said, "You want to be partners, remake this app?" We just form a business, and that's how it started.
Really?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I was going to ask you that. That is awesome. Super cool. That's good stuff.
And it worked well because everyone was being, as you said, that was around the time when everyone started to be a house flipper.
Yeah.
And everybody was being told to go look for rundown properties.
Right.
So it easily kind of grew from there. Right product, right time. There wasn't anything else that would do that seamlessly with the mail.
Yep.
And of course, we do a lot more data-focused stuff now.
Right.
But the start was all because it was
just
like
the mailers.
Something people were already doing, but we just made it easier for them to do that.
That's interesting. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Right place, right time, for sure. Definitely.
So do you and your partner have other team members? I can't believe you do that many deals with just the two of you.
No, we have a small.
We have callers, you said.
Yeah, we have callers. We got about 3 acquisition guys. We've got 2 sales guys. One guy's part-time, one guy's full-time, and then I've got a couple of VAs over in the Philippines that we've had for
do they do the
many
calling?
years.
Or who does the calling?
For the sales or the acquisition?
Well, I guess you said it goes to the dialer and then people get on there and start calling. So
Yes.
who is that? Who does that?
That's our acquisitions team here. I got 3 guys that do that.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. So they call, we leave voicemail drops. We get a lot of inbound calls actually because of all the voicemail drops and all the calling out.
Yes.
So we get a lot of volume in too. SMS, obviously text messaging, that's super powerful, super easy. You're reaching people instantly, getting them on the phone, getting a decision out of them fast. So that's been a real helpful tool, of course, over the years. Of course, we went through a lot of pushback from a lot of laws and things like that with the DNC and things like that with SMS over the years. But all in all, it's going well.
Okay, got it. So do you still, my lawyer has told me, hey, all these cases where they're making a strict offer to purchase, it's no problem. Has that been what you've been told as well, or how you practice?
So it's
texting is also riskier than calling because there's a written proof of what was exchanged, right?
Texting?
Yes.
Correct.
And the cases where people got in trouble, I saw that they texted their website, which then talked about other services they could provide,
right.
which then got them in trouble because the website listed a service they could provide beyond just, hey, let me buy your land.
Right.
And so that's why I kind of, through that research, found out that texting was more risky than calling.
Yeah, texting is risky. I mean, now they implemented a thing where they want you to have express written permission before you text as well. But all of it boils down to, and I've fought this with the state. I've fought this in several different areas of court over the years, because you're not offering a service. You're not offering somebody to purchase something with you or goods, correct? So you're
It's
not
the opposite
telemarketing,
of
correct?
telemarketing.
You're buying something.
Right.
So telemarketing and a telemarketer and an offer is an offer to provide a service or a good. We do neither, you know. So what they come back though and they say is, well, you actually are providing a service. You're providing a service by buying somebody's house. But to me, that's not buying a service. I'm buying a house. I mean, how is that a service?
The case law would agree with you that we've studied, right? There's really 9 major cases over the last 5 years. And it's not even like that much if you really think about how much calling and texting is going on. But so not to undermine like doing it correctly and the importance of that. But
absolutely.
You know, the biggest one was Ryan Pineda's company, Home Run Offer.
Yep.
I mean, he was strict on making an offer on a house, and the court favored that was not an issue, right? So he won that case.
Was he in Arizona?
He lives in Las Vegas, so I believe that would have been in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I read through those, yeah.
The ones where the real estate investor lost, like I was telling you, it was because they were offering something else. They were talking about, hey, we'll help select title for you, no problem, you don't have to do that. Now that's a service, right? So that's why you don't talk about that on the phone, and you refrain from texting the website. It was how they got in trouble, because the website talked about other stuff that was like a service. Right. So
yeah. So one of the biggest things too is that you really have to worry about not so much the breaking that rule and law and stuff like this, but really as litigators, people that do this for a living, which they have tried to sue me before. There's people that actually will try to sue you. They wait for calls. They're on the DNC and they wait for people to call them, and then they sue you for calling them. And there's several people that do this. One guy that I got wrapped up in for quite a while has done this for a living since college. He's made pretty good living at doing this by just suing companies, you know. So that's one thing you have to worry about, is those people that just are straight looking for lawsuits and looking to sue you.
Right. So when I was looking at those case laws, I was like, who initiated this case, right? And I found out there's like a woman in St. Louis. So I looked up in DealMachine where she lived. I was like, she better not come up on here, because I wouldn't want that. And we have the litigator scrub, right? So it's like, I'm putting it really to the test, because I just read this whole case. Now I'm going to look up who was in there. And sure enough, it came up and it said known litigator. And I was like, I mean, I don't see it often, right?
Right.
And it doesn't get exported, right? So I did all the tests. I was like,
that's awesome.
Good to see that works.
That's very good to see. Yeah.
Good to see that works.
Yeah, that's super important. Yeah. So we use drop campaigns as well for our voicemail drops, and their program automatically does the same thing. Scrubs out litigators, things like this, people that are known to, cause problems for you. So because that's it's technically another, drop in voicemails on there. In certain states, they kind of frown upon it.
Copy that.
I should say.
So what all states do you guys operate in?
As far as buying land, we buy land in 14 states right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you decide was the right time to expand beyond Florida? Because that's where you started.
Many years ago, back in 2000, probably 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. Yeah, we started doing some deals in Chicago, or Georgia, Colorado. We started doing a lot of deals in Colorado. I was actually flying out there quite a bit, just walking different properties and stuff like that. And then over the last probably 8 years, we really kind of just started going nationwide. There's deals everywhere. Why limit yourself to Florida?
So it's land, so you don't necessarily need to go.
You don't.
You can see a lot on satellite photos, right?
You see most of it on satellite, yeah.
Got it.
Or we have to pay somebody to go walk it and take video for us, So that works too. Like we just had a deal in Portland a couple months ago, and we just paid a builder out there to walk out there, look at it, send us video. So that helps.
Nice. Yeah, you just pay somebody to go send video. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Some of the technology's changed since newspapers, right? You obviously talked about, texting probably wasn't an option back then.
No.
The voicemails weren't an option back then.
No.
Maybe calling was. You were doing some calling.
Hand dialing, not dialers. Yeah.
What does that do to your ability to close deals?
The dialer? Well, well, for one, we do a press one survey as well. So we're able to call people, play them a message, tell them we're interested. They can press one and they can go through an automated IVR system. So we're filtering out a lot of stuff right off the bat as well. But yeah, it just gives you the power to if you got 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 guys on the phone, they can just straight dial all day long. You know,
Yeah.
you can dial 50,000 leads a day rather than 5,000.
So you make outbound calls, and what does it say? Press one if you want to sell land.
Basically, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Are you saying I've never heard of somebody doing that?
Yeah, it says, hey, this is Robert. I was calling about your land, so-and-so. Just following up, had an interest in looking at that and possibly making an offer on it. If you still have an interest in selling it, press one, and you know, I'll reach out to you here in the next 24 hours. If not, push 9. I'll remove you from the list.
Wow.
So super sweet, simple, to the point.
Yeah.
A lot of people hang up on those. You know, let's be honest, you don't get a good response, but you get response. You know,
Right.
because just because of all the crazy telemarketing that's been going on the last couple of years, you know, insurance, people calling about car warranty. I mean, if I ever find that guy, I just want to wring his neck, you know, health insurance, you know, I mean, Medicaid. I get 40 calls a day that are all, you know, robocalls or spam calls. So a lot of people hang up on those now, you know. The other important thing, of course, is your caller ID. You know, you got to make sure it's not on some kind of spam list, right? Or
Right.
they're not picking up for sure, you know.
But dialing by hand, you probably dial like 45 people an hour, maybe 60 people an hour back in the day.
Right.
Right, and then
If that.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it takes a minute to you know
Yeah.
press the button.
Yeah.
So I would say like a single line dialer. I mean 30. Maybe you can make 30 in an hour.
Well, you
back
know,
then, hand dialing.
The thing was back then though was your answer rate was through the roof.
Oh yeah, so
I
people
mean,
would answer
it was a home
lot more.
phone, you know, maybe a cell phone here and there. Everybody answered the phone back then. People don't answer now. They're just
Right.
busy. They miss calls. Let's face it. You know, it's just a whole different world we live in. So yeah, your answer rate was a lot more. But yeah, you're right. You couldn't dial with 30 people an hour if you were lucky. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Anything else that's changed that you want to reminisce about?
The list, pulling lists, leads.
It's easier now.
Oh man.
We used to go to the county and just call everybody.
So we would, at first, we would just look online. We would pull some county records. We'd write it down. We reverse. So then eventually I would start driving to the county office. I'd pay for the CD of the whole assessor roll. I would take that assessor roll, plug it into my Access file, weed out everything, all the houses, break it down what I wanted. Take that list, I'd send it off to get the append for the phone numbers, and now I would have an actual database full of numbers, and we can just go to calling. But when we first started, yeah, very, very hard. I mean, I'm literally writing down by hand 500 names, reverse searching them. I mean, it would take me, my partner, and another guy we had helping us, 3 of us. We'd probably sit there from 6 o'clock till about midnight, maybe 1 in the morning, and we'd each come up with like 50 numbers at the most. You know, so the next morning or the next day, we each had 50 leads to call. I mean, that's just crazy. That's absurd.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
You're putting a lot of labor into assembling the data in the first
Yeah,
place.
Yeah. But again, back then, deals were easier to get. There was hardly nobody doing it. You can get the deal super cheap. Everybody answered the phone. I mean, when I first started, we were doing 150,000 a month, you know, just right off the bat. As soon as we started, we just went to town, and deals were easy.
Yeah.
Really easy. Spreads were real easy, you know, much larger.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, technology I think has helped. Again, there's a lot more deals out there now. You don't have to stick with just buying and selling infill lots. You know, your possibilities are a lot more open now. You can go after those 1,000-acre tracts. You can go after stuff that people are looking to buy and subdivide. I mean, with DealMachine, you can go after apartments, hotels, houses. You can go after whatever you want. Really, the options are endless. You know, industrial. I mean, there's just so many possibilities. You know, to make money.
For sure.
Yeah.
What are some of the skills that haven't changed? Kind of as we wrap up, we've talked a lot about what has changed, but you've been successful over a long period of time. So what are those things that aren't going to change that you've mastered?
Well, I mean, the script itself is relatively stayed the same over time. You know, we've always just stuck with a real simple, small investor just looking to purchase some property type script and wanting to buy and really just building up a good relationship with people or trying to help them out if they do owe some taxes or they have some liens or they just had a death in the family. You know, just kind of giving them a shoulder to lean on, somebody to talk to, walk them through it, and how to resolve the deal and get some money in their pocket, you know. So I don't think that's changed much over time. I mean, the land itself, of course, that hasn't changed, has it? it's still land, still dirt, you know. The areas are building up, you know, but that hasn't changed much either. So, but yeah, a lot has changed.
Cool.
Now that you said that, it makes me think about it. A lot has changed, huh?
Yeah. Well, good on you staying up to date with the latest and continuing to run one of the bigger land flipping businesses that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Which is something very, very cool for us and everybody listening.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So where do you go from here?
Just keep at it, you know, keep at it. We started dibbling and dabbling a little bit in some small developments and stuff like that. But, you know, from the first day I did that first deal and made $10,000, I've been hooked ever since. And I've never looked back. I've done other things throughout time, and my partner has too. We've run other businesses and things like that. But, you know, with the flexibility it gives you with kids and things like that and family and the money it brings in, of course, you're going to have slow months and great months. But, hey, you take the good with the bad, right, with any business. So I don't think I'll ever leave it.
And you had some time to go spend with your kid in baseball yesterday.
Yesterday. I'm heading back there shortly. They have the championship game here in about an hour and a half, so I'll be
man, yeah, you better get going then. Hey, thank you so much.
No,
I really appreciate you taking time.
You having me. Yeah.
I didn't realize you left that to come here.
No,
and
you're
going
fine.
back. So
Absolutely.
that was really
I didn't
cool
want to
of
miss
you.
this for the world. You know, this
Thanks,
is
man.
awesome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely wanted to meet you. So.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.